Go.
Hi, my name's Wanda. I'm going to channel love energy for you today, and that means I allow love energy to pass through me. It turns into a message for you. In this case, we're doing a group setting, so we have these humans who are representing groups of mankind who can't all be here right now. So if you like the videos, press subscribe on YouTube. Took me a long time to figure out how to make that little button, or this side. I really don't know which direction it's in. And if you're watching on Facebook, welcome to the Messages of Love from Beyond page. Okay, I'm gonna leave. These beautiful people are gonna ring a bell, a bowl, and then we'll channel. Go ahead. So when humans must work together for a common goal, there is a certain surrendering of self that must occur. And we are referring now to the energy that is coming through the vibration. In order for humans to come together as one, there must be a dissolving of self for the higher good, not just of the small group, the higher good of mankind. For truly, as humans come together as one in a loving space and share love with one another, the love itself, the love energy itself, goes out and out and out and out, further than the humans involved. So when you come together, and at first it's a little bit weird because you're used to doing everything by yourself and making your own decisions, and suddenly you are drawn to be bigger, drawn to be more. And there's a part of you that already understands, in order for me to be more, I must be less. So when the craving or the urge comes for you to be drawn into the universe of love, into universal intelligence, whatever way you want to put it, when you have this urge as if you can't resist the call, you will willingly surrender yourself, because the call is so strong to be one with others, to be one with a group for a higher purpose. You are totally willing to give up your belief of who you are, which is a human belief that has been developed. Each human develops some sort of personality they believe they are, until that personality, until you hit a wall and that personality comes into question. Am I truly this human that I think that I am, that I have told others that I am, that I appear to be in the mirror? Am I truly that? Or am I actually more than that? This happens when you hit a wall, and then, of course, it's easier to join the group because suddenly you understand that what you've devised is just an act. It's a show for others, as if you're acting in a movie or something, and you've presented a certain thing and you thought, this is pretty good. Others will like it. I like it all right. I'm going to be that kind of person that thinks that way and looks that way. But when it comes right down to the nitty gritty, you're not really that person at all. That person for a time was interesting, but when you lose interest in the human that you devised yourself to be, it falls away. And what is left? What is left when the human that you've created no longer is necessary or no longer needed? Then what is there? What is there? Are you still alive? Yes, you are. Are you still an energetic being? Yes, you are. So when your ideas and everything falls away, there's the essence of you still left. And this essence of you is part of a larger consciousness that joins together one by one, human to human. And in this way, now suddenly you're just energy connecting with other energy. And suddenly things are easier. When you just bring your energy to the table, your love energy, really what it is, and present that to the group, there you are. As each human being does this way and loses their persona, would be another word for it, and brings their loving self to the center, something else is created. Something wondrous is created, because now there's no egos and agendas attached to the goal. Now it's just, we'll put our love energy in the middle and see what it makes. See what is best for others. Because surely at this stage, when I realize that I don't wish to any longer to be a character, I don't, and come to understand quite readily, I don't know everything, then you have nothing to bring, you have no agenda, so you sit and you're very open to the results. And you'll find very surprising results when humans come together with love energy and offers it forth for the unknown. Marvelous things are made this way. There are many groups of humans at this moment that come together with this very intention. We wish to be one, we wish to bring forward our energy, and the universe can decide what is best to do with it. It's a surrendering of self, of ego, and a willingness to become more than what you are, and a willingness to allow the persona to drop off. And suddenly, this new sense of being is lighter. It's lighter because you don't have to know everything. You don't have to act or talk or perform anymore. Now you can just be. Now you can just show up as your energetic self. It can still contained in a human body because that's what you're doing there. But show up now lighter, much lighter. Before you have nothing, you have no preconceived notions of what the project will be. You're just showing up curious. Your energetic self is showing up curious. And marvelous things are created. So we wish this to be understood, that this group that comes together, you don't know what's going on, and yet you show up. You show up willing to partake in, you don't even know really what's going on, other than you are drawn to come together. There's a part of you that really enjoys the togetherness because it's at another level. The joining together that takes place here is at another level. It's not you don't even have to speak. You're joined together energetically. So it's important to understand that this is not as it appears any more than you are what you appear to be. This is not some chit-chat conversation with a bunch of humans. It's not at all. It's a coming together of energy for the common good of mankind. Always there is this sort of notion that it's for a bigger, better reason and some loving sort of reason. Always that's underlying it, but you don't know precisely what will happen, who will respond, who will be involved in the discussion, who will hear it at another time. You don't know any of that. You just show up as your curious, energetic self and see what happens. This is an example of how mankind can work at its fullest potential, at its highest state, humans to come together in this way, in a loving interchange. And one by one, these groups will change the world, because the energy changes within the group and the humans go forth to each of their little groups and they change and their little groups change, and so on and so on. And eventually the world comes to understand that you're very close to being your energetic self contained in a human body, and you may start to act like your divine selves. There's no reason why you can't. Just because you have a physical body, you can still act as if you're divine on your day-to-day experience moving through your lives. There's no reason to separate the two. They may become one. And as you start to understand you can become one, then the groups will also come to understand you can do divine work when you're in physical, especially in groups. So that is our just opening statement, I guess you would call it, or discussion topic, something like this. So where shall we go from here?
Well, I had a thought today for a question for tonight that might kind of lead from what you're speaking of. I just wondered what your thoughts were, or your feelings, or your view on the reference to a person's guides or guardian angel, and um, yeah, I don't know if that connects with what you're speaking of about divine self, but any thoughts on that?
So you are wondering about your spiritual, we call them a support team. It's the word that we have found easiest to use, that is most accurate. So you're wondering where yours are. Why are they so quiet? Where have they been? Are they helping at all? Are they gone on vacation? What's going on? Is this what you're asking?
Yes, and if you are getting that guidance, um, is that what you're getting, or is how do you separate that between guidance and maybe ego, or fear, or inner child, or any of those
Yes,
possibilities? Right?
yes. So your support team is always, they always have your back. Now, this support team is very familiar to you because you've traveled through eternity together. You're in the same vibration. When you hear them, it's very easy. It's as if it's your own thought. And this is sort of what you're getting at. You're wondering what is your thought and what is their thought, because you're in the same vibration. And this is true. You have moved together very easily. The little group of you, the little energetic group of you, moves through time. They follow you along on your boring tasks. They lie with you at night when you're asleep. They're very involved with you. Now, this is your support team we're speaking of. We will divide this slightly. You've got a bunch of different categories here. So your support team, very familiar to you. It's as if it's your own voice, but there will be a moment when you say, hey, that wasn't me. And when you say, hey, that wasn't me, then you can try to determine, was that my support team? For there's another group besides your energetic support team, very familiar, same, always have your back. They think you're precious, the most wonderful thing. You're the best human there ever has been. That's their opinion of you, and you can't change that. And they come through time with you, and you're just the best thing ever. That's your support team. Now, there's others who some are able to hear this, but this is way more difficult. Your support team is familiar and they're with you, you're with them. So most of these thoughts that are not yours, that all of a sudden would say, hey, there's a red balloon. You weren't thinking of a red balloon. You don't have a balloon in your hand. You didn't see one on out the window. So it's not your thought. It's random outside thought of what you're thinking. This, you would think of this as your support team, because it's got nothing to do with your way of your thinking at the moment, what you're involved in the moment. It's something way out there. Oh, why is there a fish on the window? Something very weird, and they'll catch your attention that way. So that's your support team. But you're easy, you're comfortable with it. It's like, oh, it's easy. It's received for you. Now there's another bunch, and most of the time, most humans can't hear them, but that's your relatives who have passed. They have a connection through your line, your family line. So they're a little bit harder to catch. Most humans don't want to hear them. So they say, I don't want to hear that. Don't even try to talk to me. So most of the time, the non-physical family members can't be heard unless you're into that, and you're interested in that. Or there's some humans who can hear them and have a whole chat with them and get some information about things. All of this probably nothing to do with you. They non-physical of past are still interested in the things that you are interested in and they are interested in commonly. So if you have someone who has passed and they're interested in music, and you're interested in music and you start making music, there they are, right right there. They're right on you, really. If you saw them, you get a little space between them. But that's your non-physical family who have passed. When you have the same interests, they're there, but you can't always hear them. But your non-physical support team, you hear them. They're as if you're having a thought, and you say, why was I thinking that? That's weird. But it really wasn't you at all. So there are parts of you that already know what they're saying. You're really speaking about hearing voices, and that's a weird thing. Some humans don't like to acknowledge this, but everyone knows that there are thoughts going on in their heads that aren't theirs, that have nothing to do with what they're doing at the moment. Therefore, they're coming from outside. But you'd have to slow yourself down and start to notice. And when the next time something says there's a fish on the window, you could stop for a moment and say, that's sort of a weird thing to say. I don't know about any fish in any window. And then you'll notice it and you'll slow down. So now your thinking will change. So there are certain patterns that have been created by humans, which is, that is my thought, that is my thought, that is my thought. You're much like robots many times with the brain and ego. They're very rigid, your brain and ego. They want everything to be the same all of the time. So they have created patterns over and over and over, and they've sort of hypnotized, you would say, or they've turned you into a robot with the thinking. That was us, that was us, that was us, that was us. We told you that was us, that's us, over and over like this. So eventually you don't really know what thoughts are outside of you, but you can understand that the repetitive thoughts are your brain and ego. They are from inside. Your non-physical support team don't repeat things over and over. They'll say one thing. That's all. You don't get it, doesn't matter. They'll say something else later. But the repetition, that's your brain and ego trying to make sure you stay in line, you stay alive, and keeps you under control. So, so many different topics with your one seemingly small question is expansive. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, I'm glad I got some kind of grasp on the fish in the window part, because that was probably, I understand the reference to it, and and the repeating thoughts being the ego. Yeah.
And now you're wondering about the fish in the window, because that's the way your brain and ego handle things. What did that mean? There's no fish in the window. What's that? What's that? Focus on the fish in the window, except instead of the other things, which is when you hear a thought outside of your own, it's from your non-physical support team, because it's not in your experience at the moment. If it was something about what's right in front of you, there's a cat in front of me, don't step on it. There's a cat, don't step on it. Then that's your brain and ego. But if there's something out there, it's not from you. How there's no possible way a human could say, I just had a weird random thought. Of course, they do say it, because that's your brain and ego trying to get it into line. So what you've got a push and a pull here. One is your brain and ego keeping you safe, making your life methodical. And there's another. It's light, it's adventure, it's the unknown, it's weird stuff, it's magic. So now it's a balance between these two things. And do I want some of this? Do I want none of this? You're getting curious because you've asked this question. But most of the time, humans don't delve into what was that? Did anyone else hear that? No, they would pretend it didn't happen or something else, or change the topic, or say I thought of that myself. So not all humans wish to know what's really going on. Many want to pretend that they are still living a predictable life. So you seem to be at this place now where you're discussing having your brain take care of you and being curious about the unknown. And that's quite a place to find yourself, because that is your physical being and your divine self coming together and shaking hands. Well, hello, where have you been all the time? Well, I've been right here, right with you, side by side. Well, I didn't know you were here. I know you didn't, because you were busy ignoring me. See? So now your divine and your physical can come together and have a little chat, have a conversation, be friendly with one another. Let us travel through our time together in this friendly way. Perhaps I'll talk a little, you'll talk a little, we'll give a little space here and there. They can be friends, your physical and your spiritual self. Is that good for you?
That's good for me.
Let us do namaste together. Namaste.
Namaste.
Aaron, I'll ask a follow-on question to that concept of working effectively with your support team. When I'm doing projects, it's kind of a meditative process for me. I was thinking about I was recently putting some ceramic tiles in a bathroom, and as I was cutting the tile, all of a sudden I had this random thought that, oh, don't go too far, because I needed to allow for something else. So it helped me stop making a mistake on the job. And when I actually checked it, I had stopped just early enough that I didn't make the mistake. So I didn't destroy the piece of work that I was working on. So I felt very happy for that, and was thankful that I don't know if I remembered, or whether something prodded me to remember about this other aspect of how I was to put the tile on. But then when I've been doing other aspects of the job, I'll be thinking, I've thought it all through, and I start doing the cutting, and then realize after I've cut it that I've cut it wrong. And yet I've had no prompting or reminder on other things. So I guess the question is about, how do you effectively engage that team to work with you?
You wish to harness non-physical. Very, very human of you to say such a thing as this. How can I use non-physical to my advantage in the physical world? This is truly what you're saying. We would make a comment on your comment about hearing something outside of yourself. Do you understand that you have family lineage, is what we would call them, that have passed, that are very familiar with this type of work that you are doing?
Oh, quite possibly, because I enjoy doing it, and I'm very good at it, and I have never been trained in it formally. So I was thinking I must have had some experience or influence from somewhere else to learn how to do those things.
Yes. And would you believe, therefore, as we have just mentioned, how there are your lineage that have passed, they're quite different than your non-physical support team. That's why we're separating them. That are very interested in you doing a good job with this. And they're right over your shoulder, and you might feel them around you. Oh, don't do that. Oh, you got it. Oh, good job. Oh, no, this sort of thing. So when you heard that, you are hearing there's a space between you and non-physical that's very thin. And sometimes you slip into it and you're able to hear. And sometimes they're surprised that you can hear them, because truly these non-physical beings, they're not beings, non-physical energy are really very interested in you and are talking most of the time. But most you humans have a life to live. You can't go around listening to non-physical, because then you're not living your life. You're living a non-physical life. So you're living a physical life, but you're curious about non-physical. So now and again, you'll hear what they're saying. But you can be assured that there are non-physical, your family, that loves to be with you in your intense precision work that you're doing. They love this precision work. Oh, it's just something else. Plus, they think you're wonderfully fabulous anyways, so they're right in there with you. Now, whether that makes a difference or not, it's just soothing, comfortable to some to think, oh yes, my dead relatives are all around. To others, that's horrifying. That is the worst thing they could hear. So whether or not you're softening up to the idea of there's ghosts around you that can move vibration and therefore speak or come through a thought, and your brain interprets it as words, which is really what it is. So the energy's going in. Sometimes you can hear it. Sometimes you can interpret it. Sometimes you can't. So you can't really blame the ghosts if you cut it wrong one time and cut it right the next, because what's going on. But you can rest assured that you are greatly supported by non-physical who have passed. Now, the other part of this conversation, and this is very similar, is you yourself are trying, or you're curious about we're going to keep saying ghost because you think this is funny. So you are becoming a different person. You are changing from the human that the get-up you put on, the outfit that you wear, the human you could predict. People could predict what you would say, what your opinion was going to be. All of this, you yourself now changing. You're leaving, you're stepping out of your persona, we would call it. And now you're out here in the weird world, and now you're curious about non-physical, because you yourself are changing. So this is important to notice. Not really are there dead people around. Of course there are. Where else would they be? The human action is here. So of course they're here. This is where the humans are. Everything's interesting around you. So of course that's that. But you yourself are leaving an old part of you behind, and you're now opening up to new opportunities, new ways of being, new ways of thinking and seeing the world. This is an important transition for you to notice, because you are evolving. You are changing now. And now what will you be? This is the magical part of it. When you leave your persona behind, the entire world is open now. Now you can be anything you wish to be. Now it's all open again, because you're cutting your ties with who you must be. You do not have to be the same rigid human being that you always were. Now what? Now look what can happen. Anything can happen. So this is a magical time. This is a magical time for the group that is assembled here, because you're all leaving your old selves and stepping into something new and unknown, but you're hoping it's going to be wonderful, and it keeps you moving forward. I think it's going to be wonderful. I'm going to move a little bit closer, slowly, closer and closer and closer. There's some part of you that can't resist the pull of magic. We love this word to use. It's in humans are automatically engrossed when they hear this word, because you can't figure out what's happening. But there's a part of you, so the pull is so strong, you're being moved towards it. You're moving towards, humans would call it the light, and we don't mean when you're finished your time there. We mean enlightenment. We mean now you're able to be more spiritual, more open to ideas. And as this, there's a certain result, there's a reward to this loosening from your human ideas of self, which is the way you move through the world and influence others. So when you drop your old self, and now you have a new magical self, and you're curious enough to wonder what it's going to be, this lightness and curiosity, others see it. When others see that it's possible to leave who you were and become something entirely new, they become hopeful. When they become hopeful, they are in a state of love energy, and they can get it by watching you change, by humans transforming into their spiritual divine selves. Others have hope that they also can do it, but there must be those who go first. There must be those who go first. And you, this group assembled, are those going first. You are all transforming into something new and wonderful, beautiful, because it's lighter, it's curious, and you'll move more easily through the world because you realize, wow, life is not such a drag after all. Life's not quite as difficult. All those things that I thought I had to do, I don't have to do them. I can do them if I wish, but if I don't have to. And I don't have to feel guilty. I leave baggage behind. I'm free. That's the pull. That's the divine pull, freedom. And that's the magic. Freedom is magic. And that's the pull of this group assembled here. You all wish to be free. And you'll do it in a magical way, because the magic what's draw you, it's sparkly and shiny. Come on over here and play. And you come towards it. And when you're coming towards it, you're leaving behind old ideas and ways of being. How does that sound for you?
Well, I feel like I'm following that path already, that just where I am in my life, I'm able to have that opinion where I can do it if I want or not do it if I want. So I have a wonderful sense of freedom already from that. I feel very fortunate to be in that place. Many humans.
Yes. But there's also the leaving behind of the persona or the person you thought you had to be. A suit. It is like a suit you put on. I'm this sort of person, aren't I now? Isn't that wonderful? Not so egotistical. We don't mean it exactly. That's a little bit exaggerated. But it's a certain rules you had to follow when you wear the suit. When you wear the suit, you must follow these rules. And now you understand you can take the suit off and you can follow the rules or not. So it's more than freedom of time. It's freedom of mind and spirit. It's more, it's lighter, as if you're floating like a balloon all of a sudden, because now you can leave all of the notions that you have gathered through mankind, through your time. Now it's possible for you to leave them behind if you wish. That was not an option always for you. There was a time where you have to gather more. Oh, gee, that's really a lot. Okay, one more on top of that. All this, these are ideas and rules and ways to live and move through the world. So it's not just freedom of time. It's freedom to be your higher self, to be your truest inner self, without achieving anything. Because truly, humans are loved. The same human is loved in the same way who achieves many things as the human who achieves nothing. They are both of same value to the universe of love. And this is not easy for all to hear, especially those who have worked hard to achieve a big handful of things. But now it's time, if you wish, you can let it go and be equal to all of mankind who are all equally valued. You can be free to choose now. There was a time when you are not free to choose. This is the freedom we speak of. And this is the magic, the letting go, the evolving into something more. Is that good for you?
Yeah, I'll think about that some more. Thank you.
Let us do namaste together.
Thank you. Namaste.
Hi, Aaron.
Greetings.
Last week you mentioned emotions being created in the body. And I was wondering if you could expand on that and how that's done.
We will explain we will explain it in this way. Energy always passes through your human body, or it would not be alive. Your body is alive because it's full of energy. The energy itself is from the universe of love. It's how you are all walking around the earth. You are full of energy. Unknown to most of you, you're all full of the same energy. It doesn't distinguish between one or the other. It's the same energy that passes through all of you. Some humans have learned that certain energy can feel a certain way. And when they have a feeling or a block or stop the energy, they have a physical reaction that they call an emotion. Do you understand that so far? It's a little bit complicated, but we are speaking precisely to you because you play with emotions and energy, and you have come to learn that emotions tell you where you are energetically.
Yes, I think I'm following.
They tell you where you are. You've made this deal. All right. Tell me where I am energetically by evoking a certain word, emotion in me. Now, the energy can flow easily through you, and you can remain in a neutral state, which is ease and peace. When we're going to put this right back to you because it's you that stops the energy from moving. When your mind says something, oh no, that might happen, your body reacts to it. Therefore, your energy stopped, and therefore you have to label it something, so you put an emotion on it. I am anxious. Now, taking this backwards, you are the one that stopped the energy. Therefore, you are the one that created the emotion, and your brain labeled it as something. That's a little bit complicated, but we are saying that you can understand this because it's something that you do, and it's something you devised because you wanted to remember that you're physical. And when you have physical emotions, you're reminded very quickly that you're in a physical body. I'm anxious, I'm angry, I'm sad. Whatever the ones are you choose, they remind you where you are, and you can pinch yourself if you like to. Yes, I'm human. Now, if you understand that, we will go one step further. Do you understand that as mostly?
Yes.
All right. So as you come to now that step, all those steps that have gotten you to here, now I'm angry. Oh, yes, thank you. I'm physical. I remember. You may let it go. It does not have to stay and ruminate all around in your brain. Oh, I'm sad. I'm sad. And why am I sad? What made me sad? Was I sad before? Will I be sad later? Was sad. It does not have to be like that unless you wish to continue being reminded you're physical. Or you can just touch yourself. Oh, yes, thank you. I'm physical. I remember. Back to an easy state. So your energetic state may stay neutral as long as you wish. Do you believe this to be so?
I know it's an ultimate desire, but I haven't got there.
No. You have not got there because we are walking you through this. But do you understand then that you may choose to stay in a neutral energetic place? So you've got that. You can choose that. Now,
Yes.
why would anyone not want to be that way? Because you want to be reminded you're physical, you're having a physical experience. So therefore the feelings. But what we are pointing out is you don't have to stay in the feelings. You can just say, oh yes, I'm physical, thank you. Move it on, go back to the state. It's the ruminating, the focusing on it that causes that emotion to go bigger and cuts off your energy even more. There you have no access to this ease because you're tight and your energy's all, I'm sad or I'm angry, whichever one it is. They're all really, they're all similar in this way. They remind you that you're human. And you are there to have a human experience. But since you are having this energetic exchange right now, you're curious about it. You're curious about the relation between energy and emotions. You know there's something there, but you can't quite figure it out. So we have walked you through the process. But because no matter which step you decide to take, it doesn't matter. You're still the beautiful human being. This is the biggest picture of all. It doesn't matter if you choose to stay sad for days and days and days, or if you just say, oh, I feel sad, thank you for the physical emotion, and move on. It doesn't matter which one. You're loved in the same way. So there's no judgment for being physical. And this is important to know. There's no judgment for being physical. You're all doing the best you can. You're stumbling around. You have all sorts of roadblocks and this and that, all kinds of catastrophes and wonderful things. Everything happens to you. So that is the human life which you're involved in. So we are giving you information because you are trying to come forward so quickly. You're trying to move into your divine self, and you continue to have these energetic exchanges because you're curious about it. Now, we're going to tell you one more thing. You know all of this. Every question you ask, you already know because you're connected to divine energy. All of the answers are within you. Your natural state is to be in a state of ease. When you're not, you're having a human experience. Big deal. You've got a human body. So what? When you want to come back to your natural state, connected to the universe and one another, you may do so. This is your natural state. It's nothing you have to learn. It's nothing you have to do. It's your natural way of moving through the universe. So all of this you know already. This is just a reminder for you that you're doing everything fine. You're living a human life. You're being curious about your divine self. And we are telling you your divine self is your natural, easy self. The self that you are when you're not in some sort of state, and your brain's not working, and you come down to some medium place, that's your state. That's the state of all of you when you wish to be there. And we don't wish to belabor the point, but have a human time when you're having it. And if you wish to be interested in divine, have that. No judgment. It just is your time and you're doing your thing. How does that sound?
Good. So is it possible to be in a neutral state majority of the time?
Oh, yes, of course. It's your natural state.
Okay.
Your natural state is ease. When you're not in ease, you're in something. You're in some human experience. You don't always have to label them, but you're doing something human, because when you're out of whack, you're looking for a little excitement or a little remembering that you're human, or you could hit yourself over the head. Oh yeah, I'm a human. You'll cry. Oh yes, I'm a human. You see, it's not a judgment really. It's just a noticing. Oh, I'm being my human self right now. And yes, you may stay in a state of ease. Of course. You've done it for all eternity.
Can I expand on that one more?
Yes.
So how is it that foods and different other things that you put in your body affect your emotions?
Food affect your emotion. What do you mean by this?
Well, there's been times that I've eaten certain foods and it might stir up some kind of emotion in me, or I've taken a certain supplement that helps me release certain emotions.
So these are memories that you have related to a food item. An old memory that is recalled when you smell or eat a certain thing. Is this what you're referring to? This is what you're referring to, but we're wondering if you know it. Because food itself, whichever thing it is, does not have any emotion attached to it. There's absolutely nothing attached to it. But you can have a memory of something, and it could be attached to that looks like that. It can't be that one because that one's new now. But you could have something attached to something that looks like that. And then you'll say, aha, that's that experience. And your brain will kick in with the memory and tell you what's what. Your energy will change and you'll have the emotional reaction. And you'll say, oh, I'm in physical again. The food itself has no emotion at all.
No, I know the food doesn't, but like, can it be like, say you take a certain supplement that's for a certain part of your body? Like, can it, because if it stimulates your liver, can it bring up like any kind of old stagnant energy that's been in your body to be holding on to?
We do not discuss this, but we do not discuss this human bodily functions. But when you are putting something in with intention, whatever it is, even if it's a rock, and you say, I'm going to I'm going to have an emotional release of sadness, and you suck on the rock, you will, because it's your intention. It's your energy. You decide that. If you have a banana and you say, this banana will cause whatever you wish to say to it. Do you understand what we mean? It's you and your intention putting forth into the item.
Okay.
That's hard for you to believe because you have a notion that things outside of you can affect the inside of you. Only you can decide that. You can decide what is affected within you. And you're going to play around with this. This will be great fun for you. So if you say, well, how about the rock? Oh, when I suck on this rock, I will have a certain release from a human that I am attached to. And put it in your mouth, suck on it, take it out. You'll have an emotional release from the human that you wish to. Because you put the intention forth. You are a powerful being. You must not ever underestimate what you are flowing through you. You are allowing the energy to pass through you. You are powerful beyond all means. You can recall memories if you wish or let them go. You may release or hold on to. And you can use a rock. That's very funny if you wish to do that. But you will start to experiment and wonder now because we've got something going on in you that has not been motivated before. And now you're curious about it. So you're going off to experiment now on this new philosophy that you've heard. But it's truly an old philosophy of you. You are divine. You are attached to it. You know what's best for you. You know what's going on inside of every cell in your body. You know what's going on inside there. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play with that.
We understand that you disagree, and that's absolutely fine. And humans, of course you can disagree. Who cares? It doesn't matter. So you may fool around with it or just ignore it or pretend you didn't hear all of this. Doesn't matter at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's just do namaste.
Yes.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Are we complete?
Yes.
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 May we close with the ringing together of the notes.